In a previous video, I mentioned the well of wisdom from within and how it's an infinite source that never runs dry. It's not just a well of wisdom, it's the source of inspiration. It's the source of what you are. But let's just speak to inspiration. To truly be inspired is when you're not looking outside of yourself for that inspiration. When you look outside of yourself for that inspiration, you're always going to be reacting to the outside, so to say. You will try and replicate and copy others. But one who's truly drawing from the source within finds all of that inspiration from within oneself. When they speak authentically. It's never been said before. They're not parroting what someone else has said, regurgitating someone else's words, quoting someone else. It comes from within. It comes directly from that source. They're speaking from source, as source. The thought of quoting others or commentating on other people's words or views or opinions is, what's the word here? There's a dissonance. Something feels off. It doesn't feel alive. It feels borrowed. It doesn't feel true to you. Why would I share someone else's experience? The only experience that I'm going to share is my experience, because that's the only experience that I know. Why would I commentate on what someone else has said years ago? Why would I react to someone else and what they have said? That type of commentating and narrating, that type of reactivity, reacting to someone else's views and opinions is something that the mind loves to do. But when you are living from your heart, that type of activity just doesn't resonate. So there's this dissonance that you feel. It just feels off. It's not that you're arrogant, it's that you're authentic. So it's beyond preference. It's not that I prefer. It's that authenticity to express that aliveness in me cannot be overlooked. It would feel like suppression. Something so alive that it needs to be expressed. So I'm not going to borrow someone else's words or commentate on what they've said or start quoting, because that would just feel inauthentic, disingenuous, not true. And it's something that the mind just loves. That's why these reaction videos are so popular on the internet. Someone can simply say, I don't know how they usually get titled, but reaction to, and then they put the person's name or whatever it is, this influencer, reaction video, or a commentary on, put so-and-so's name, or I don't know, the book or the talk or speech or whatever it is. And that's something that the mind just loves. It attracts more of it. And it's funny because it's like it's inverted. When the heart is simply expressing itself, it's like there's no juice there for the mind. It wants the story. It's that energetic, that's why I use the word dissonance, it's that energetic mismatch of frequency. One is of the heart frequency, the other is of the mind frequency, sort of say. Not to create that division, but just to express it. That one sort of repels the other. But that being said, it also attracts more of the same. So the heart will attract more of those who feel that call from their own heart. The mind will feel like, it's so boring. What is this guy talking about? It just sounds like nonsense. Because it's only listening to the words, whereas the heart tunes into where the words come from. It's energetic. He talks, and there's so much awkward silence. Why does he just look at the camera sometimes without saying anything? Or why is he looking off the camera into the distance? And like this, it's commentating. And there's a resistance to that frequency, that energy. So it's quite funny in some ways. But I'm sharing this because it's an invitation for you to speak from your heart, to create from your heart, to stop looking outside of yourself. The mind is always looking outside. It wants safety. It wants to see what so-and-so is doing. I'll copy that. That looks like it's proven. And following your heart is always unknown. So it's not going to receive, the mind's not going to receive that validation. It's not going to receive that approval. It's not going to feel like it fits in. Actually, when you follow your heart, that unknown path, it's very rebellious in a way that it doesn't fit into society. Not rebellious as in you're fighting society, but it just doesn't fit. Because you are unknown. The society is the known. What you're bringing into the world, they haven't seen yet. When you speak authentically, when you express authentically, let's use that word express instead of speak, so you see that I'm kind of covering all different forms of expression, whether you speak or you write or you paint or you whatever you're creating. All creations are self-expressions. So your self-expression will always kind of seem like, some people say this, like it's ahead of their time. He's saying something, she's saying something, or they created something that's ahead of their time. When really, it's not that it's ahead of their time. In a way, you could say it's like that. Ahead as in prior, maybe. But it's timeless. It's because you're creating from your timeless essence. So the mind always thinks that it's like ahead. which is really funny how it works, how it's perceived. Because as you feel like you're coming back to yourself, coming back to your roots, you also feel like you're kind of coming back to something ancient, reconnecting with your roots. You're reconnecting with something ancient within you. And then when you express it in the world, others kind of, whoa, this is like so ahead of our time. When really it's like, it's not. It's just been forgotten. So there's a sort of remembering our roots. And when you reconnect with that, it's not that you're connecting with something that's from the past or from the future, but it's actually your timeless essence. And to the mind, that just feels like, that's what the mind just kind of labels, that's ahead of our time. And because that essence is unknown to the mind, it has no words. There's no words for it. So it comes up with the best that it can do. It's ahead of our time, or all these different labels. Weird. And to walk that path that is unknown, to follow your heart, you have to be okay with being weird. You're just simply being yourself. And if people call it weird, if people are afraid of you or what you do, because you're simply following your heart and you're expressing your heart, then so be it. You have to be okay with it. It's always going to come down to your own resistance to yourself. So really what you think other people think of you is really what you think of yourself. What you think other people think of you is really your own fear of yourself. So it's an invitation to follow that call of your heart, to walk that path. It's not this path that you're following as if it's something that's in the future to arrive at. It's a path to be lived. Following your heart doesn't mean that you're seeking something in the future. It doesn't mean that you're trying to arrive somewhere. It's just a way of saying that you're living authentically. To follow your heart is to simply live as your true self. Hey guys. Hello. Hello. And that authentic life is when you're guided by something within, when you're inspired by something within, when you are simply expressing your essence from within. So you're no longer seeking. You're no longer looking outside of yourself for approval, validation, acceptance, worthiness, love, recognition, any of these things. Because you found it within you, right? You found it within you, so you're no longer looking without. And now that you found it within you, you simply are expressing it. You're simply sharing it. So you're not seeking, you're sharing. And that looks like authentic expression. Because what did you find within yourself? Well, you found your authentic self. You discovered your essence. So that's the essence that you express. And it's through that authentic expression that you transform your life. You're not going to speak about other people's lives when something is alive in you. Why? No, you're going to share what's most alive, and what's most alive is that which is in your heart. So you speak your heart. You share from your heart. You create from your heart. You're not going to make some sort of, what did we use as the example before? What are those things called? Reaction video. You're not going to create some reaction video or commentary on something or someone. Like you need some sort of content to create that day. No. You're not just creating content, you're sharing what's alive in you. It's a totally different thing. It's radically different. Being a content creator being an authentic creator. What's most alive in you will simply arise on its own, effortlessly. And because there's no resistance to that, there's no fear. In simply being yourself and expressing yourself, it comes through so natural, so organic, so effortless. You see, it was always there in you. You're just resisting it. You're holding back. You're hiding. You didn't want to be seen. So in a way, it always felt safer to try and blend in, to try and fit in. Because being yourself, you are naturally unique. You're one of a kind. That which is one of a kind will always stand out amongst the crowd. So when you try and copy the crowd, you do so by suppressing that unique expression within you. The fear of being weird, doing something different, are typically these reasons. But like I said, it's only the fear of being yourself. That's the only fear that there is. So if you accept that invitation, to the journey of truth, to follow your heart, you'll end up walking that path of a rebel. The rebel who feels like they don't fit in, like they are weird. But remember, that's just what society calls it. While walking that path, the more you follow your heart, the more you embody your authentic self, the more you actually feel like you do fit in. You feel like you belong here. Because by discovering your true self, you've come back home. And this is where you experience the journey as the destination. You don't stop living because you've returned home to yourself. But in this life, right here, right now, you continue to live. In fact, you live fully. And you're always home. You've come back to your wholeness. All parts of you fit, they belong. Because you realize you were never separate. So if you feel called to join me on the journey of truth, so you too can follow your heart, discover your authentic self, and ultimately live as your authentic self, to live fully, then I invite you to join me on the journey of truth.